He walked into work ready to quit, but HR stopped him before he could resign. Daniel hadn't slept properly in weeks. Every morning felt heavier. The endless overtime, the fake corporate smiles, the manager who somehow turned every meeting into humiliation. And worst of all, nobody noticed how exhausted he really was, not even when he stayed online past midnight, not even when he skipped lunch for deadlines, not even when his chest tightened every Sunday night before work. So that morning, Daniel finally made a decision. He printed his resignation letter, folded it carefully, put it inside his bag, and for the first time in months, he actually felt relieved. The office felt strangely quiet when he arrived. Too quiet. Co-workers kept whispering. Managers walked faster than usual. Even Slack notifications seemed tense. Then Daniel noticed something strange. Marcus, one of the company's top senior employees, was suddenly clearing out his desk. Nobody would look him in the eyes. Not even HR. Daniel felt his stomach drop. Because Marcus never looked worried. Ever. Before Daniel could process it, his computer suddenly locked. Then a message appeared. HR would like to meet with you immediately. His heart started racing. Was this about his resignation? Or worse, were they firing him first? The walk to HR felt painfully long. Daniel rehearsed everything in his mind. Stay calm. Be professional. Don't look emotional. But the second he entered the room, something felt wrong. Nobody looked angry. In fact, they were smiling. Too much. The HR director slowly slid an envelope across the table. Then said, Daniel, leadership has been very impressed with your recent performance. He blinked. Confused. The HR director continued. Effective immediately, we'd like to offer you a promotion. Daniel froze. Promotion? After everything? After months of burnout? After he literally came to quit? None of this made sense. Then HR mentioned the salary increase, the management title, the private office. It sounded like everything he thought he wanted. But something still felt off. Daniel stared at the envelope silently. His resignation letter was still inside his bag, unopened. Suddenly his phone vibrated. A message from a coworker. Bro, why are they replacing Marcus with you? Daniel looked back at HR slowly, and for the first time, their smiles started feeling dangerous. As Daniel walked out of the HR office holding the promotion papers, he noticed Marcus leaving the building carrying a cardboard box. Then Marcus stopped beside him, looked directly into his eyes, and quietly said, Be careful who you trust in this company. The promotion should have made him happy, so why did it feel like a warning? Daniel barely slept after the promotion, the salary increase, the private office, the congratulations messages flooding Slack. It all looked perfect from the outside, but Marcus's final words kept replaying in his head. Be careful who you trust in this company. By morning, the entire office already felt different. Coworkers suddenly smiled harder at him. Managers greeted him by name. Even people who ignored him for months were acting friendly. Too friendly. And the strangest part? Marcus's desk was already gone. Like he never existed. No goodbye email. No farewell meeting. Nothing. Just erased. Daniel tried focusing on work, but something felt wrong. Every time he walked past the executive offices, conversations suddenly stopped. Coworkers lowered their voices around him. Then Maya pulled him aside near the coffee station. Her face looked tense. Daniel, people are talking. He frowned. About what? She hesitated, then whispered, They think Marcus got pushed out because of you. Daniel's stomach dropped instantly. That's insane. But Maya didn't look convinced. She glanced around nervously before leaning closer. Marcus fought leadership constantly these past few months. About what? Nobody knows exactly, but he kept saying the company was hiding something. Daniel felt the room suddenly grow quieter around him. Then Maya said something that made his chest tighten. And now suddenly you get promoted the same day he disappears? Back inside his new office, Daniel noticed something strange. Marcus's old laptop charger was still plugged into the wall. And beneath the desk, a black external hard drive. Hidden, Daniel stared at it silently. His instinct screamed to leave it alone. But curiosity won. He locked the office door, connected the drive to his laptop. One folder appeared instantly, Archive. Inside were dozens of screenshots, private executive messages, salary spreadsheets, confidential employee reviews. Then Daniel saw his own name. He froze. A message between HR and upper management read, Daniel is emotionally exhausted. Easier to control than Marcus. Another message, promoting him now prevents resignation risk. Daniel's breathing slowed. This wasn't a reward. This was strategy, manipulation, and suddenly every fake smile, every congratulation, every handshake started making terrifying sense. Then his office lights suddenly turned off. Daniel jumped. A notification appeared on his computer screen. Remote access connected. Someone else was inside his system. The cursor started moving by itself. Files began deleting one after another. Daniel panicked and unplugged the hard drive instantly. But before the screen went black, a final message appeared. "You were never supposed to see this." Daniel sat frozen in silence, heart pounding, because now he understood the truth. Marcus wasn't fired because he failed. Marcus was removed because he knew too much. And somehow, Daniel had just stepped into the exact same trap. Then his phone vibrated. Unknown number. One message. No name, no context. Just 5 words. "Check your office window." Now, Daniel slowly turned toward the glass office window. And down in the parking lot, he saw Marcus sitting inside a car, staring directly up at him. Watching. Waiting. Daniel thought the promotion saved his career until the company started watching him. Daniel couldn't stop staring at Marcus, sitting in the parking lot. Rain hit the windshield slowly. Neither of them moved. The office behind Daniel still buzzed with fake professionalism. Keyboards clicking. People laughing. Slack notifications ringing. But suddenly none of it felt normal anymore. Because now Daniel knew something terrifying. The promotion wasn't about rewarding him. It was about controlling him. Then his office phone rang unexpectedly. Unknown internal line. He answered carefully. Silence. Then a calm voice whispered, "Delete the files, Daniel." The line disconnected instantly. For the rest of the day, Daniel noticed things he'd never paid attention to before. Employees lowering their screens when he walked past. Managers stopping conversations mid-sentence. HR watching him too closely. Even Claire, the HR director, suddenly started acting warmer. Too warm. That evening, Daniel stayed late pretending to finish reports. But really, he was waiting. At 8:47 p.m., the office finally emptied. Daniel locked his office door again, then reopened Marcus's hard drive. More folders appeared this time. One labeled, Termination List. Daniel clicked it slowly. Inside were employee names, dates, performance ratings, and hidden notes beside them. Too outspoken, questions leadership excessively, influencing team morale, potential resignation risk. Daniel's stomach turned. These weren't layoffs. They were targeted removals. Then he saw Marcus's name. Beside it, refuses compliance. And directly underneath, Daniel's own profile had been added hours earlier. Status, under observation. Suddenly, a noise outside his office. Footsteps. Daniel immediately shut the laptop screen. The footsteps stopped directly outside the glass door. Silence. Then, a soft knock. Claire, smiling. Still working late? Daniel forced a smile back. Just adjusting to the promotion. Her eyes drifted briefly toward the closed laptop. Then back to him. That's good. She stepped closer. Too close. You know, leadership sees a very bright future for you here. Daniel nodded slowly, trying not to panic. Claire's smile never moved. Then she quietly added, "As long as trust isn't broken." His chest tightened instantly. Was that a threat? Before he could answer, she walked away calmly, leaving the office door slightly open behind her. And that's when Daniel noticed something horrifying. His desk drawer had been opened. Daniel rushed to the drawer. The hard drive was gone. His breathing stopped. No. He searched everywhere frantically. Nothing. Then his computer monitor suddenly turned on by itself. A single video file appeared. Auto-playing, security camera footage. Daniel watched himself earlier that night, opening the confidential files, recorded from inside his own office. Then text appeared across the screen. Company property theft is grounds for immediate termination. Daniel stepped backward in shock. This entire thing had been a setup. They knew. Maybe they always knew. Then another message appeared underneath. Conference room B now. Daniel's hand shook as he walked through the empty office hallway. The lights above flickered softly. Every step felt heavier, because now he understood Marcus completely. This company didn't destroy employees loudly. It destroyed them quietly, carefully, professionally. And somehow, Daniel was already trapped inside the machine. Daniel slowly opened the conference room door. Inside sat Claire, 2 senior executives, and Marcus, alive, calm, waiting. Then Marcus looked directly at Daniel and said, "You finally see it now, don't you?" The moment Daniel entered the conference room, he realized the promotion was never real. Daniel froze at the doorway. Marcus sat quietly beside 2 executives, completely calm, completely composed, like none of this surprised him anymore. Claire folded her hands neatly across the conference table. The soft city lights behind her reflected against the glass walls. Cold, sharp, controlled. Then she smiled. "Please sit down, Daniel." Nobody sounded angry, which somehow felt worse. Daniel slowly sat in the empty chair, heart pounding so loudly he could barely think. Then Marcus finally spoke. "You opened the files." It wasn't a question. Daniel looked at him carefully. "You set me up?" Marcus sighed quietly. "No, I tried to warn you." Claire slid a thin folder across the table. Inside were printed screenshots, Daniel's login activity, security footage, private system access logs. Every move he made had been tracked. Then one executive leaned forward calmly. "Daniel, this company values loyalty." The other executive added, "Marcus used to be valuable too." Daniel looked toward Marcus. "Then why is he here?" Marcus gave a small, bitter smile. "Because they couldn't afford for me to leave publicly." Silence filled the room instantly. Then Claire finally revealed the truth. Marcus had discovered leadership was quietly forcing out employees before stock restructuring. Older workers, higher salaries, employees asking too many questions. They called it operational streamlining. But internally, people called it the silent purge. And Daniel's sudden promotion? It wasn't about talent. It was damage control. Leadership believed promoting Daniel would stop his resignation, improve team morale optics, replace Marcus quietly, and keep employees distracted. Daniel felt sick because everything suddenly connected. The fake smiles, the sudden praise, the carefully timed promotion. None of it was genuine. Then Claire leaned closer. Her voice softened. "You're smart, Daniel. That's exactly why we want to help you." "Help him?" Daniel almost laughed. Then she offered him a new contract. Double salary, executive track, remote flexibility, stock incentives, everything he once dreamed about. But attached to it, a confidentiality agreement, and one terrifying condition: delete everything Marcus gave you. Daniel looked at Marcus immediately, but Marcus stayed silent, emotionless, like he already knew this moment was coming. Then Claire quietly added, "Or tomorrow morning, HR opens a formal investigation into your misconduct." Daniel's chest tightened instantly. They were cornering him. Legally, professionally, emotionally, and worst of all, they were doing it calmly. Suddenly Daniel's phone vibrated on the table. Unknown number. Claire frowned slightly. Daniel looked down slowly. One message, a video attachment. Timestamp. Live. Confused, Daniel opened it. Security camera footage appeared. Not from the office, from his apartment building. Then another camera angle loaded. His apartment door. Someone was outside, watching. Daniel's breathing stopped. Then the message underneath appeared. "They're not just monitoring the office anymore." Daniel looked up slowly at Claire. For the first time, her smile disappeared. Daniel realized something horrifying. This wasn't just corporate politics anymore. This company controlled narratives, employees, careers, maybe even lives. And suddenly the promotion felt less like opportunity and more like ownership. Marcus finally leaned forward, the first real emotion appearing on his face all episode: regret. Then he quietly said, "Now you understand why nobody simply quits this company." The conference room lights suddenly shut off. Darkness. Emergency backup lights flickered red across the office floor. Then every employee computer in the building simultaneously lit up. One email draft appeared company-wide. Subject line: "The truth they hid from you." Daniel stared at the glowing screens in shock, because somehow, the confidential files had already been sent to everyone. Every computer in the company suddenly lit up, and nobody could stop what was happening. Red emergency lights flooded the office floor. Employees froze at their desks. Slack notifications exploded non-stop. Managers rushed into hallways and across every monitor inside the building. The same email draft remained open. "The truth they hid from you." Daniel stood motionless inside the dark conference room. Claire looked genuinely panicked for the first time. One executive immediately grabbed his phone. The other stormed toward the hallway yelling, "Disconnect the servers now!" But it was already too late, because employees had already started reading the files. Salary manipulation, secret termination lists, internal HR targeting notes. The entire company was watching the truth unfold in real time. Outside the conference room, chaos spread instantly. Coworkers whispered aggressively. Some looked angry. Some looked terrified. Others simply stared at their screens in disbelief. Daniel stepped slowly into the hallway, and everywhere he looked, employees were reading their own names. One woman suddenly began crying near the elevators. Another employee slammed his laptop shut and cursed loudly. Then Maya appeared from the far side of the office. out of breath, holding her phone tightly. "Daniel, this is everywhere." She showed him LinkedIn. Anonymous screenshots were already spreading publicly online. The company's reputation was collapsing by the minute. Then Daniel noticed something strange. Marcus wasn't beside him anymore. He turned quickly. Gone. Suddenly, building security rushed onto the floor. Claire pointed directly at Daniel. "Stop him." 2 guards started moving toward him immediately. Employees nearby stepped aside nervously. Phones recording. Whispers growing louder. Daniel's heart pounded violently. This entire office used to intimidate him, control him, drain him. But now, the fear inside the building had changed direction. Then Daniel's phone vibrated again. Unknown number. One message. Roof access. Now, he immediately knew it was Marcus. Daniel ran, past cubicles, past staring coworkers, past executives, shouting into phones. The security guards chased behind him. Daniel burst through the stairwell doors, breathing heavily. Floor after floor after floor. Until finally, the rooftop, rain pouring heavily across the city skyline. And standing near the edge, Marcus, waiting calmly. Daniel stepped toward him carefully. "You leaked the files?" Marcus shook his head slowly. "No." Daniel frowned. "Then who did?" Marcus looked directly at him, then quietly smiled. "You did." Daniel froze. Marcus explained everything. The moment Daniel plugged the hard drive into the company system, a hidden auto-release trigger activated. If leadership attempted retaliation, the files would automatically distribute internally. And after Claire threatened him in the conference room, the system triggered itself. Daniel stared at him speechless. "You planned all this?" Marcus looked out over the city, rain running down his face. "No, Daniel. I just knew eventually they'd choose the wrong person to manipulate." Sirens echoed faintly below. Inside the building, employees continued flooding social media with screenshots. Years of silence were collapsing all at once. Then Marcus turned toward Daniel fully. "You know what scared them most?" Daniel said nothing. Marcus answered quietly. "Not resignation, not lawsuits, not losing money." He stepped closer. Employees finally realizing their worth. Daniel felt those words hit harder than anything else that night. Because for months, he thought survival was success. But now he understood. The promotion was never respect. It was fear. Down below, dozens of employees suddenly began leaving the building together. One after another. Badges dropped. Laptops abandoned. Phones recording everything. A mass walkout. Daniel stared in disbelief. Then Maya emerged from the rooftop doorway, holding resignation papers. She smiled softly at Daniel. "So, what happens now?" Daniel looked down at the collapsing company beneath them, then slowly removed his employee badge and dropped it into the rain.